Okay, so this is the light experiment. The idea that we want to see in action here is how light is going to travel through mediums of different densities in a different ways. There's going to be a different refractive index depending on what fluid the light's traveling through. So we have a laser here. This is going to be our light source, and I didn't have any prisms or anything like that. If you have chunks of plastic or chunks of glass, as long as they're smooth-sided, those work just as well, and you can see lots of cool things with those. But I did have these little clear trays, and we put oil in this one and water in this one. I put a little bit of Kool-Aid mix in here so that we'll be able to see the laser traveling through it. And then this one's empty, so essentially it's just full of air. And we're going to turn the lights off here in a second, get it real dark so we can see the laser, hopefully, and shine it through. And what we're going to expect to see, and hopefully we do see it, is that in the tray with the oil, we're going to have a large divergence from the normal path of the light. So if I shine the light through at this angle, we should see the light bend in towards the oil because it's much denser than air, and light will travel differently in a different medium. And then, in the water here, since it's less dense than oil, if the light enters at this angle, we should see it still diverge at somewhat of an angle, but not as drastic as in the oil. And then finally in the air, we should see the least amount of change after the light exits the water and enters the air. So we should get a curve that's something like this. This will go in and then out like that. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll turn the lights off and shine the laser through here and trace the path of the light and see what happens. So here we go. Okay, so for this part of the experiment, it's important that it is extremely dark. And so we either do this experiment at night when you can turn off all the lights, or what I've done is I've just gone in the bathroom, closed all the doors, and turned the lights off. And so it's pitch black, which is perfect because it's going to make it way easier to see the path of the light whenever there's no other light interfering with our experiments. So here we go. If we turn this on, now we can see things. Is here on the right side, we have our oil, and then our water, and then our air. And it's a little bit dark, so the quality isn't super great. We are not using night vision filmatography here, but you can see where the laser is shining in. They're the little pinpoint of light. And notice how the angle of the laser doesn't match up with the angle of the light through the oil, as it bends in towards the thicker medium of the oil because oil is denser or thicker than air. And then, how can we see it here? Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see here, as it goes through the water, the angle changes ever so slightly, as we've got this curve where it comes through the oil, and then it goes down just a little bit in the water, and then it goes down even further through the air here, and you can see the light reflecting off the bottom of the tiles here. So that's really cool. That's fascinating, is that light is, the one and the same thing, and the speed of light is almost a constant in physics that we base entire theories on, and it changes depending on, or it changes its angle and the way it travels depending on what it's in, which is very cool. And depending on the kind of stuff that you have to reflect here, if you change your angle, you can see all kinds of cool things. As you go this way with the laser, we can see that angle diverging from how it is outside the oil even more. And then at a certain point, you have total reflection. As we change the angle this way, the difference gets less and less and less, but we get almost complete penetration of the medium. We can come back, and then, I don't know if we'll be able to see this on the camera, but you can see right here, you can barely see it, is you end up getting a reflection off the other side of the oil container here. As the light goes in, it bounces out, and then a lot of it goes on and penetrates through, but some of it ends up getting reflected back into the oil because it can't make it past that barrier. It can't break through, so to speak. So that's really all it is. That's all we needed to see, and that's all I wanted you all to see. So very simple experiment. I think this is very cool, so play around with this, have some fun. Experiment with different things, different substances, and different angles and sources of light and that kind of thing. And that is all.